All right, so we have now two SEC teams in the college football playoff. And this is not really what I wanted, I'll be honest. It's a regional game. I really wanted to see like Ohio State and Alabama, or some teams, a matchup I hadn't seen. I wanted Baker Mayfield and the Oklahoma Sooners to get to the college football playoff because I wanted to root for Baker Mayfield. But let's be honest, this also is not what the network wanted. This is a regional matchup. ESPN, whoever has the game, this is not what they want. This is not what nationally captivates audiences. The storyline's not that great. It's going to be kind of a boring national championship if you ask me. Two teams that are defensive dominant, run the ball a lot. That's not what I want in football. I want passing, I want scoring, I want excitement, and that is what Baker Mayfield would have brought. But let's also be honest about this. The Big Ten is now 7-1 in bowl games, yet they cannot get a bid? We have two SEC teams in the college football playoff in the national championship, and the Big Ten didn't even get a chance? That drives me nuts. For the love of God, can we please expand the college football playoff? I'm not asking for much. I just want an 8-team playoff. Just add one more week, add one more round of games to get into the playoff. I would like that so much more. I've got to say, I'm not outraged. I'm not super mad about having two SEC teams in the college football playoff. Look, we had a chance. There was only a 25% chance of having both Alabama and Georgia make it to the national championship. And they earned it. They both won their games. A lot of the narrative on Twitter and everywhere else is that people are angry that there are two SEC teams in the national championship. Look, there was a chance there was going to be no SEC teams. If Clemson and Oklahoma both win, neither one of them would have been in. We had our chance, and the SEC just won the games. They took care of business, and there are two teams in the national championship. So I'm not too upset that there are two teams from the SEC in the national championship. I just have to be honest, it's not the game I wanted. But I would really love to see an expansion of the college football playoffs. And if you need proof, here's proof. This is the best story in all of college football right now. Yesterday, University of Central Florida, coached by Scott Frost, beat Auburn in their bowl game 34-27 and completed their 13-0 perfect season. It's a great story. It's fantastic. And their coach is riding off in the sunset. Their head coach, Scott Frost, the head coach for Central Florida, is now going to his alma mater where he played quarterback and won a national championship. He's now riding off into the sunset to be Nebraska's new head coach. That's awesome. It's exciting. But it just makes me ask, what if? What if University of Central Florida had an opportunity to play in the college football playoff and play eventually for the national championship? What if they'd had a chance? Because they went 13-0. They did everything they could, and they trounced almost everybody they played. And let's be honest, I did not think Central Florida had a chance to beat a team like Auburn. I thought they were going to get clobbered. Well, guess what? I was dead wrong. I mean, they took care of business against Auburn, a team that beat Alabama. So what do we know? Who knows? I would love to see 8 teams get in. Because I'm not going to argue about the 8th seed. If it comes down to like Boise State or Washington, whoever it is, I'm not going to argue that. But it's really easy when you leave out one of the 5 Power 5 conferences, actually 2 this year. You left out the Big Ten and the Pac-12. When there are teams that are good, teams that like Ohio State trounced USC and UCF beat Auburn, teams like that. Or a couple years ago even when Boise State beat Oklahoma, that's like 10 years ago now. But there are teams that are like, should they get a chance? Because regardless, it would be interesting television, and that is what I want. Interesting is the most important thing when you're watching television. And if you give a team like Central Florida a chance, that would have been fantastic must-watch television. So I think the college football playoff should expand. And again, if you need proof, look at Central Florida. They went 13-0, had a perfect season. They beat an SEC team that also beat Alabama. So look, I would love to see an expansion. I think 16 teams would be too much. An 8-team playoff is basically the perfect amount. It's like the Goldilocks theory. Too much, too little, just right is 8 teams. 4 teams is too little. 16 teams is too much. 8 teams is perfect. There are 40 bowl games. There are 40 bowl games every single year. So if you had 16 teams, that would be 15 of those bowl games would be dedicated to the playoff. I think that's too many. I think that's far too many. For a couple of reasons. First, it would take 4 games to get to the national championship. And that's too much. First, that's too exclusive, so you'd only have 16 teams and 15 bowl games. A lot of other programs will lose TV money because of their bowl games, and you can't have that. You can't have that many football programs excluded from the bowl game season and losing that much money. You'd also have too many games. So we got to think about player safety at least a little bit. Add 3 games this season, you're playing 17 games if you also make it to the national championship. 18 games, it's far worse. It's too many. So right now you play 15 games to get to the national championship. If you 16 games to get to the national championship. I think adding one more tier, one more week of games would be fine. I would not. If I had an 8-team college football playoff, what I would not do is I would not give the number 1 ranked team and the number 2 ranked team a bye week. I think then you would have too much arguing about who gets the number 1 and the number 2 seed, because a bye week is a huge competitive advantage. I think you have number 1 play number 8, 2 play 7, 3 play 6, 5 play 4. Like, just let it play out that way. I do not want to see a bye week. But I really think an 18 college football playoff is the way to go. That would be a perfect decider, because then you don't leave out teams like Ohio State and the Pac-12, and you would get a team like UCF in there. Auburn could have made it. I think we would have a lot less questions. There'd be a lot less contention. Look, 4 teams is better than 2. It's better than it was, so we can't complain too much, because beggars can't be choosers. And a 4-team college football playoff, again, is better than what it used to be. But I think there is still definitely room to improve, and I would love to see an 8-team college football playoff. That would be 7 of the 40 bowl games that would decide the college football playoff. I mean, if you need proof, University of Florida going 13-0 and having a perfect season is exactly why we need to expand the college football playoff.